this gentle evening flow, we will be working on lengthening our spine and deepening our breath to prepare for a restful night's sleep. And just lighting some Palo Santo, bringing yourself into awareness, so creating another aspect for the senses to focus on, maybe some gentle music in the background. But starting by finding a tabletop position to work into some cats and cows. Inhaling your deep breath in, pulling your chest through your arms, lifting your gaze, stretching your cervical spine. Then as you exhale, pressing into your hands, curling your chin into your chest, really arching your spine, integrating into the midline of your body. Just working on deepening your breath as much as possible, seeing if you can really take in some more air on your inhale. Exhale, pressing your mat away, curling into yourself. And honing this rhythm of inhalations, exhalations, taking as many rounds as you need, going as slowly as you can. We want to really lengthen and warm our spine with our breath. And on that last inhale, as you exhale now, coming forward to a puppy dog pose. So crawling your hands out forward in front of your mat as far as you can so that your heart comes to rest down on your mat, maybe even your third eye. So you're working to keep your hips right above your knees, a very deep heart opener, spine lengthener. And if it feels okay, continuing to crawl your fingertips forward, maybe even tenting your hands so that you get a nice stretch on the undersides of each arm. Your chin might even rest on the mat as you gaze forward toward your fingertips. And your breath here, as easy as it is to collapse with our lungs down, we really want to expand. So taking breath very deep down into your belly, reaching all the way, envisioning it traveling out the crown of your head. Last breath as you lift up, back into your tabletop for just to be, and I have a pillow, which is a nice prop. If you have a bolster or even a block, we're coming now into some nice hip opening. But starting with just a neutral position, we want the pillow to be right under our hips and just finding a sphinx. And we'll just neutralize that very deep heart and spine opener. Just some cobra here and just keeping it very relaxed, very soft. Especially as we're preparing for bed, just focusing on the deep inhalations and exhalations as a preparation for the deep breath that we have during sleep. So pulling the heart up, just think about undulating the spine here. So you pull yourself up and return back down. Working now into our lumbar spine, just getting more into our low back. If you reach up and you feel like you want a gentle upward facing dog, just resting. The pillow helps support to get a little more length as you reach and arch your spine up and away. And staying with your breath as much as you can throughout all of these postures. It's not a true vinyasa flow where it becomes easier to monitor your breath, but especially in these postures where we're kind of just picking and choosing a few to work together in this shortened time frame before bed, it's really, really important to keep the meditation on the breath. So a few more, lifting the heart up, expressing the heart up, exhaling to come back down, really pressing and reaching as much as you can, focusing on your spine. And then we'll neutralize here, just coming into a very gentle locust pose, modified locust pose, just to integrate some of that stretching and lengthening that we've done. If you're craving even a little bit more release, some press, maybe working into the hips as we prepare for alligator pose, you can press up and bend the legs, bringing the knees as wide as your mat, reaching the crown of your head toward the bottoms of your feet. It can sometimes be a really, really nice way to just release the entirety of the spine in a different way. And keeping your pillow nearby if you'd like to support this pose. We're coming all the way down into our belly now. And starting with our left leg, we'll do a little moon variation. So starting with the left side, you want to bend your left knee so that it's about the height of your left hip. And coming to rest the inside of your left thigh on the pillow. Your right leg is long. So if you were to look at yourself, you'd look kind of like a figure four, maybe with the thigh parallel to the bottom edge of your mat. When you want to keep both of your shoulders level, you can rest your hands either on stacked hands, maybe on stacked fists. If you want a little bit more, coming onto one side of your face, just adding a little extra shoulder and neck stretch. In deepening this pose, every time you sense a little hesitation to settle your hips down, really try to release any holding, any clenching, especially in your jaw. It's easy for the tension and tightness in our hips to stay in our body in another area of our body. So releasing with an exhale as you settle in. And again, keeping that intention, focus on deepening your awareness of your breath, where it's potentially getting caught in your body, if you can free it in some way. And taking 2 more rounds of breath as deep as you can, inhaling. Steady exhale. And your last breath, the deepest breath. And slowly release. And just pressing yourself up, lengthening your left leg down and back again. Just a gentle upward facing dog. We'll set up now to do the other side. So really making sure that left leg is lengthening straight back below your hip. Your right leg this time will bend, right knee in line with your right hip. The same pose, just another side. Being mindful if this side of your body is different. We all have a little asymmetry in our body typically. So being mindful of that, being compassionate toward that if you need to modify, and maybe this leg doesn't come as high. Remember, the higher the hip is, as in the tree, we have a little more intensity in deepening the pose. So if you just lower the knee a little more, can make the pose a little more gentle. And breath into your right hip. Just a deep inhale. And exhale. Taking a deep breath in. And exhaling. Taking your last breath right here. And exhaling. The deepest breaths that you can. As you come into your transition now, just finding a gentle Sphinx pose. Legs traveling long back behind your body. Maybe even knitting your chin into your chest, just finding a little bit of release there for your cervical spine. Transitioning from our crocodile pose into a beautiful shoulder stretch, following the same variation as before. So beginning with our left side, the moon side. So we'll lengthen our left arm slightly above your shoulders. If you were to reach straight out of your shoulder and then maybe crawl up, just a couple fingertips just to protect the shoulder. Very gently rolling over onto your left side with your arm extended. If it's too much, come back, but I think it might be okay to really taking your time as you explore transitioning your body onto your left side. So it's a very deep shoulder stretch here, working even up into some of the muscles that connect the shoulder to the jaw. So lengthening both of your legs down right below your body. If it feels okay here, bending your right leg, bringing it right behind your left thigh, so you have a little bit of a stack, and stabilizing for this posture to deepen here, so you have more connection with the earth. Right hand can slip back behind the body, crossing over your low back. And here, just making sure that you don't feel any tingling, any sensations of a nerve potentially being pinched here. That's the only unhealthy sensation to have here. If you're experiencing any jarring pain, come out. But if you're feeling normal sensations of, release, or how you might feel in a pigeon pose, just try to stay, especially here, working with your breath to open your shoulder up down the length of your arm. In your very last breath right here, the deepest inhale, full, complete exhale, release, coming on to your other side, your right side. So just a nice moment of neutralization as you release both of your legs long down behind your body. It's coming onto your chest, bringing your third eye to your mat, and bringing your left arm to your low back. So just bending that arm, releasing the shoulder, and just finding a moment here of neutralization before coming onto the right side. Staying, breathing, letting anything go. If anything became caught or tight in your body, especially your jaw, just fully releasing any tension here. And now we prepare for our right arm. So giving yourself enough space to reach your right arm long, straight out of your shoulder, and then crawling it up just a couple fingertips so the hand itself is resting above the height of your right shoulder. From there, take a deep breath in. Prepare, calm, steady. You're slowly, very gently rolling onto your right side. So taking as much time as you need, exploring how it feels. If it feels okay to bend your left leg, resting the sole of your left foot behind your right leg. Just a little extra balance in your foundation. And then either bringing your left arm behind your body at your low back, or you can always keep it in front too, just a nice connection, some connection with the earth. Remembering to deepen your breath. Even just to follow your breath, if it's becoming caught. I know these poses are not always felt the same way across either side of our body, especially when you do one side and realize it was a little uncomfortable. We might be coming into the other side with hesitation or apprehension. So really, really being mindful as much as you can to try not to get too carried away in the anxiety of the pose, but rather just take it breath by breath, moment by moment, and try to stay. And again, the only reason why this pose would ever be dangerous is if you're feeling tightness or tingling, which means you potentially just touched a nerve when you've rolled over. So you can even just come out and try to revisit the pose with your arm at a different angle. But you know your body, and generally when we think about these long-held, more yin-like poses, it's easier for our minds to wander off. So just bringing it back. We have 2 more deep rounds of breath right here. Steady the inhale. Releasing any tightness or tension on the exhale. the fullest, deepest breath you can manage right here in this pose. Breathing in, lengthening. And exhale. Mindfully releasing now, coming down onto your belly again. This time bringing your right arm to your low back just to neutralize. As you come down onto your chest, your third eye meeting your mat. And the neutral position after each pose, just as important as the time we spend in the pose. So just noticing anywhere in the body, maybe the tension from the pose became locked or trapped in another area of the body. So just take the neutral position as a way to calmly and steadily release. And the final sequence of poses here, finding an easy seat. Maybe it's on your knees, maybe it's a lotus. We'll just start by taking our right ear to our right shoulder, lengthening all along now the left side of our neck. From that shoulder stretch, so just a beautiful way to release and find some more freedom in that range of movement, especially those of us that keep our stress in our shoulders. And then left ear to left shoulder, stretching now the right side of our neck, the masseter muscle that attaches the jaw into our shoulder. You're clenching your jaw throughout the day or even at night, just mindfully working with yoga to release some of these habits that we've taken on in these stressful times. And then neutralizing that, if you are okay to come into a broken toe pose, chin to chest just for a moment, stretching the soles of the feet. And our final stretch here for our hips will be a fire log variation of half lotus. So we're really, really working into the deepest stretch for our hips. So taking our right foot up and over our left thigh so that the foot is hanging off of the edge of the thigh. So there's a little more intensity to this pose than if we were just bringing the foot into the hip crease. If you still have your pillow, your bolster, your block nearby, bring the earth up to you, keeping your spine long. This is a more intense variation, so it may feel a little more challenging to bring the third eye directly to your mat. In this case, just bringing the pillow to the third eye and helping you soften and come into this pose, very cocoon-like. And especially in these sequences before bed, it's nice to have a softer companion to the practice versus a block. So if you do have a throw pillow or some other soft, a body pillow maybe, a bolster if you have one, it's just a little more comfortable. And just sending your breath into your hip joint, along your spine, into your gluteus medius. This is our last breath, the deepest inhale that you can find. Breathing in, maybe even crawling your arms out to either side of your body just for a little extra stretch as you breathe in. So much air, sip, 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 sip. And exhale to release. Coming now onto your other side. So just neutralizing for a beat, maybe even rocking your hips side to side, just seeing if you can release anything anywhere. Check your jaw, check your shoulders. Places where the breath potentially gets stuck. And we'll switch our stack of our legs. So just crossing left foot up and over. So almost as if your knees really were going to stack on top of one another, but the most important thing is that we just keep our hips level on the earth. So if you notice one of your hips, your left hip in this particular posture, lifting up off of the earth, then just bring your legs a little wider. Don't come in so deeply. But this version is so potent just for the additional stretch along the glutes. So when we think about our hip stretch, we think about our our psoas muscle, maybe the inside, the inner thigh, but we also need to companionably stretch the outer edges of this joint. So when we think about our adductor muscles and other areas of our body that tend to soften or become neglected if we do a lot of sitting throughout the day, a lot of driving, we're pinching these areas of our body. So important to release here. The deepest breaths that you can find in through your nose, traveling down your spine, right into your hip joint. Calmly, steadily exhaling, letting everything release. Your jaw softens, your shoulders soften, your hip releases. And doing that again as deep as you can, inhaling, inhaling, inhaling. Exhaling, softening, softening, releasing. You might even notice your face becoming more relaxed here the more you can really hone into your breath. So focused on that rhythm of breath that the sensations come and go in your body. And mindfully release. Coming up, if you want to stretch the arms out long as you reach yourself back up into your seat. And our very final pose of this sequence, Supta Baddha Konasana, just coming onto our back. Spine is long, soles of our feet come together, knees fall open wide. And I like to bring the pillow onto my hips for a little extra grounding. And sometimes even onto the inner thigh of the hip that troubles me a little more. In this case, it's my left. So just a little assist with gravity to lengthen and release here. And staying for as many breaths as you can. Take this as your final Shavasana. Namaste.